Hello, I'm Daisy, and thank you for joining me here on my channel. And if you're here, it's because you want to learn tarot. Well, you must be on my playlist, and you've probably already hit a couple of the other spots. And so we are going to look at how to interpret and read the Strength card, okay? So just a little background. You have been following with the Fool's journey, and we're looking at the major arcanas, and those are 22 cards in the Waite traditional deck of 78 cards, and these are called the majors. And so we start with the Fool, and these cards usually represent what I like to refer to them as karmic issues that we need to get through, trials and tribulations, challenges that help us evolve our person, our soul. And so that's how we started with our Fool, carefree, happy-go-lucky person on the way towards enlightenment. And we just finished visiting with the Chariot, and there we learned so much. I mean, that learning came from beyond what the Magician had told us, because now we have learned things from the Empress and the Emperor, and we are here now with so much more knowledge. We've got the wand of the Magician, and now we can wield information from the cosmos and command things here on Earth with a little bit more understanding. So what happens, and where does the Fool go? Comes across strength. So we're looking with the number 8 comes these energies that's associated with that vibration of personal power, of strength, of courage, of success. And with that number also we have prosperity and free will. So there's a lot of things that just come from that number 8. So I would recommend, if you haven't done so already, get yourself a book on numerology, or Google that, so that you can get the base understandings of the numbers 1 through 0, or 0 through 9, however way you want to start it. And also because you can take any 2 numbers or 3 numbers and bring it down to the base number and pull out its energy. So there you have it on that. Confidence, material freedom, success. Those are the things that we get when we look at the number 8. And so we could see that we've got the 2 different versions of the Rider-Waite there. Here's my little mini one here for myself, but I'm putting it on the screen here so you can have it there as well, and you can look at that. So we see the number, and we also see, it's interesting because, as you could see, this card here has the background of pink, and this one has the background of yellow. So when we talk about the colors, remember how we talked about the color yellow usually representing intelligence, and usually the color pink is associated with, love. So how does this relate to this? It will also apply in how you are doing the reading, what other cards are there, and how you're going to bring that into the mix if it's going to, be called for. So the one thing we see here is we see this infinity symbol over her head, right? And so what we have with the infinity symbol is, if we go back, where do I have the Magician here? Kind of wanted to share some things. We saw this before, remember? We saw this with the Magician, right? And we see it here, and it was there with the Magician. Remember that? Right. So this is a sign here about using holiness to prevent any violence, and in particular here, using this holiness, this spirituality, this tenderness that comes from that knowledge and that experience. So you don't have to use violence when you're trying to get your point across, or when you're trying to do a couple things. The other thing, I wanted to go back from the recent experience of the Chariot. Here we see strength in a different way. Here we see strength kind of exuded on the outside, while with this woman here, it is kind of more of an inner strength. She is drawing this strength and subduing this beast with just inner strength and confidence and inner power. You don't see that there's a struggle. There's a gentleness to this. So we'll go right into that, because when we look at the fact that they're using a feminine energy, a woman, that it's basically this feminine energy, you can use that to move forward, because it doesn't matter whether you're a man or a woman, you know, with you, who you are identified as, how you were born with your organs, but this is really about identifying with that energy that, you know, to deal with the situation that's in front of you, that you do not need force. As you can see, there's composure here. There's this woman is commanding the strength through pure wisdom and love. In this case, on this other deck, it's with wisdom and intelligence, right? Because of that color yellow. Okay, so what are some of the other things that we see here? We see that the element of the lion in both cases, while in this deck it's kind of a little orangey, more brownish, this one has like more of a, what I call a red hue to it, talking about the passion of the moment. Still, just because you're not being violent, that's because you're not being loud and aggressive, doesn't mean that you're not passionate. The passion exudes from within, so that the lion represents that there is passion in the things that are being pursued here through that strength, right? And so you're manifesting it with pure will, because you're not forcing it any other way, but through the will, right? Okay, and so we see another thing here that's very indicative is the pose of both the lion and the woman. She is coming, bending down towards him, and the lion is looking, you know, pushing himself up towards him, like looking up. So he is giving in to this, while she is also participating in this and like yielding some. So there is a balance coming back into that. So we see that in that aspect of the pose, how they're presenting themselves there. Okay, right? Oh, let's see what else. So we talked about that, and we already talked about the number 8. We see the same story that came from the chariot, the houses, the buildings in the back, and the nature scenes. So we see that there is this thing that's still commanding being in society, still working with, you know, things that are happening around us, but still making time to be connected with nature and all of that. So that is being shown there, that there's still some things to overcome and some things to have to deal with. So another thing that when we think about the zodiac, that's another element that we want to throw in here. The number 8 for strength is Leo. Not only is the lion here helping us understand which zodiac might be drawn from here, which this would be a fire sign, right? And so we have the lion, the Leo, the number 8, because it's in the 8th house. So definitely it's confirmed there. So we've got that fire sign. So if it has to do with a time period, we're looking at the times, you know, between July and August, where the Leos are dominating, you know, in that arena during that time. And let me see what else. I'm going to look at this card here. So she wanted to see some of the minor differences that I want to share with you. And in particular, this really, for me, I want to kind of bring, I want to show you in this other deck. Okay. Yes. So I wanted to show you that in the the Sun and Moon Tarot, and it's important for you to look at the different decks. So in the Rider-Waite deck, this strength shows up as the number 8. But there are some decks that strength will not be the number 8. It will be number 11. And normally in the Rider-Waite deck, 11 is justice. So here in this particular deck, it's the other way around. Justice is number 8 and strength is number 11. So, and you can see that different symbols. So here they have a moon here, and they have a wolf. So it's important to look at your decks. So when you're going to give a reading, you don't get all confused. You really need to forget the books for a little bit and just trust yourself and the symbols and how you feel about the colors, the symbols, what is being evoked for you, so that you can have that base reading. And you don't want to get confused, so it's important to look at all the decks and before you embark yourself on doing a reading. Let me see what else we have here. Okay, so how would we, I think really that's the key point. Well, kind of take a look how even in these two, the dress here with the strength, there's like this white, she's wearing white, so like this strength is coming from this pure place. And this one, this maiden here, she's got that blue and green, so connecting us with communicating things from our heart. You know, when you think about the chakras, you know, the blue and the green. So where is that drawing from? You know, being able to communicate what's in your heart. And, you know, fertility, and with the color blue, that's spirituality and intuition. So there's a lot of things, ways to approach that. So how would we put this in a reading? Aha, let's go. That this person now needs to come in with this confidence, this strength, and know that they have the power to do what they need to do, that they are being divinely guided in that direction to do that, and that they can be, you know, as they're dealing with the situation, they need to come in with that composure and the confidence, and mostly to know that they have what I would call the courage to do this, you know, and that they can influence the situation there, because to change the mind of that lion, but that you can do it with compassion, with love, with also understanding, and that you are spiritually guided. Just step into it. You can be able to step into it and also know that you're going to have the wisdom to do what you need to do at the time that you need to do it. So how would you read this if it was in reverse? Okay, so now there are things that are in balance. You might find out that your inner strength is clouded, maybe a little arrogant in your approach with the situation. Maybe you are lacking self-confidence. It could be the other extreme, you know, because that arrogance may come because of other situations, and you might be too overly confident, and or that you lack the confidence. So depending on what are some of the other surrounding cards in this, could be that there's low energy about the situation. You don't have the strength, you don't have the confidence to approach that, you know. Maybe you're doubting yourself. So there are a lot of ways to interpret this card. And so those are the ways to interpret this in a reading. So now the Fool moves on. And what are some of the other lessons that he must learn? Who might he come across that he might learn something new? Go to the next video to learn on how to read the Hermit.